More officials from the Democrat Party facing big trouble here. A city council president from Delaware has been indicted by the Department of Justice on profiteering charges. And a couple more recent updates on another Democrat who is under federal investigation. This recent news article talks about how feds have also been investigating this Democrat councilman from Philadelphia, Kenyatta Johnson, and Philly taxpayers have already been forced to spend over $75,000 on Kenyatta Johnson's lawyer during this federal probe. First, we can look more at these charges that were just announced on Monday against this Delaware Democrat, Theo Gregory, Wilmington City Council president, indicted by the Department of Justice. Theo Gregory, from the Democrat Party, senior member of the Wilmington City Council and its president. New update here reads, the former Wilmington City Council president has been indicted by a Delaware grand jury, Department of Justice officials announced Monday. According to the Delaware DOJ, the Office of Civil Rights and Public Trust learned a grand jury indicted former City Council President Theo Gregory on profiteering and official misconduct charges. Officials alleged that Gregory used his position to enrich himself and a nonprofit that he revived in October of 2016 called the Students' Disabilities Advocates, a private entity that he controlled after it had remained dormant for 18 years. Gregory told his successor, Hanifa Shabazz, that $40,000 in city grant funding had been earmarked for the organization and pressured her repeatedly while still in office to release the funds after she was sworn in, even though the SDA lacked nonprofit status at the time. The Department of Justice also said that Gregory used the Police Athletic League of Wilmington as a pass-through for the funds. Gregory is alleged to have filed and had approved by Shabazz a grant application for $40,000 as part of a pilot program which would be sent to the SDA a day after he left office. In its budget, $20,000 was paid to Gregory, who publicly acknowledged personally receiving at least $15,000. His actions were found to have violated a number of Wilmington City Code provisions, according to a state auditor's report. Gregory allegedly admitted his actions violated said provisions in an April 2019 meeting with the Wilmington Ethics Commission. John Flaherty, who is on the board of directors of the Delaware Coalition for an Open Government, said that the case is an example of the hazards of the grant structure. There develops a camaraderie. Scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, Flaherty said. So that's an interesting development with Theo Gregory. It seems like he has been involved in a number of controversies in his time on the city council. He, in one case, had to write an article defending himself over his spending. And moving back to Philadelphia, there's these updates on the federal investigation against this councilman, Kenyatta Johnson. Another recent article on this case points out how Philadelphia taxpayers have already shelled out nearly $75,000 to cover city council member Kenyatta Johnson, Democrat from Philadelphia. Taxpayers have been paying for his legal fees related to a federal investigation over the last year, a bill that is set to climb as the ongoing probe continues to unfold. News outlets have reported that Fox Rothschild lawyer Patrick Egan is being paid by the city to represent the South Philly councilman in an investigation being conducted by the local U.S. Attorney's Office. Andrew Richman, chief of staff to the city solicitor, confirmed the current value of the $225 an hour contract. In an email, Richman said, over $74,000 has already been paid by the city to Fox Rothschild under this contract to date. The city began paying legal costs for Johnson in August of 2018, according to the law department. Officials are still not giving that much information on the nature of the investigation into Johnson, but he is being looked at by the FBI, according to city officials. Another recent article about that case is just saying right now that Johnson is currently involved in what is only described as an ongoing investigation involving the FBI. It will be very interesting to see, though, how this federal investigation against this Democrat Philadelphia councilman continues, especially given the fact that there have been so many other recent indictments against Democrats in Pennsylvania. I've been following these recent indictments on this channel, not just in the state of Pennsylvania, but that's been one of the top states that we have been covering, as there's been so many Democrats that have either been arrested, indicted, or sentenced recently from that state alone. Democrats in Pennsylvania have gotten in so much trouble recently that they're actually now afraid that it might impact Democrats' chances altogether in the 2020 election. Some of the other Philadelphia Democrats that have been indicted or arrested by feds recently include Jeffrey Blackwell. Jeffrey is a city official who is related to Councilwoman Janie Blackwell. The Blackwells are a long-running political dynasty in Philadelphia. They are closely connected to people like the Clintons. Also recently covered this Democrat sheriff from Philadelphia, who was Philadelphia's longest-serving sheriff, was recently sentenced to 5 years in prison in a federal corruption case. That was just this summer. Also this year, a Philadelphia councilman and a union leader charged in a massive corruption indictment. Philadelphia city councilman, a union leader, and 6 others were charged in this massive 116-count indictment that alleged embezzlement, wire fraud, and bribery, among numerous other public corruption offenses. This Democrat councilman, Robert Hennon, is one of those individuals that was charged in this indictment. Also, union leader John Doherty is a major donor to the Democrat Party, and other union employees, all charged by the grand jury for allegedly using union funds for personal and other unauthorized expenses. According to that other indictment from earlier this year, this Philly Democrat, Hennon, received a salary and other things of value from Doherty, and in exchange, Hennon used his position as a member of the city council to serve Doherty's interests. According to the indictment, the two, quote, attempted to hide the true nature of their illegal relationship from the public. And as we've been continuing to follow this corruption by Democrats in Pennsylvania, I've brought up this political article a few times. Looks like one example of the mainstream media freaking out as this has been exposed, all of this corruption in Pennsylvania. They claim that the biggest problem is that this might help President Trump get reelected. I guess that's what you might expect from the mainstream media at this point, but this is how they're trying to frame these recent indictments, including the indictment of one of Pennsylvania's most powerful behind-the-scenes political players. It is now rattling Democrats in the state, and this state is, of course, a key 2020 battleground. The bombshell charge is announced earlier this year against building trades leader John Doherty, the Philadelphia labor kingpin, whose union is the single biggest independent source of campaign funding in the state. This is now a threat to state Democrats, the loss of this mega donor, and it could slow the party's momentum in the Philadelphia suburbs and sideline the man who orchestrated the Democrat takeover of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. The court radically redrew the state's congressional map last year, leading to the Democrats' pickup of a handful of congressional seats in November. Doherty's tentacles spread so far that Republicans already think that this could be a big advantage for President Donald Trump's election chances in 2020, finally getting Doherty out of the picture with this indictment. Anytime there's a vacuum, it gets filled, and I believe there's an opportunity for the Republicans to take advantage of the fact that the Democrats' machinery is minus one piece. Could be some more exciting updates related to both of these cases. People have been questioning the activities of Theo Gregory in Delaware for a long time. And also, the other federal investigation against Kenyatta Johnson, we're still waiting for more information on the nature of that investigation, but very interesting given everything else going on in Philly recently. Recapped some of those cases in this video, but I'll continue to follow anything else related and any other connections. I will follow up soon. Tell me what you think in a comment. If you could leave a like on this video, that's greatly appreciated, and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. I will follow up with any related details. Also in the video description are links to my Patreon account and PayPal, both places where you can support the channel. Even $1 or $2 makes a huge difference, helps me keep talking about these issues. Tell me what you think, and I will follow up soon. Thanks, everyone.